like to introduce our next speaker, Usman Olayemi. He is a researcher that is passionate about the implementation of digital construction in his community. He's an agent of digital transformation in the AECO sector in Nigeria and Africa at large. He's the author of an innovative conference paper titled Benefit of Integration of 5D BIM in Cost Management Practice in Quantity Surveying Firms. Usman is well known for his proficiency in 5D BIM tools and quantity surveying software. Usman is the co-founder of Prospect BIM Firm, a tech solution company that helps companies, individuals, and the educational sector in the training and implementation of BIM. His team has successfully trained over 300 professionals and students in the AECO sector. Usman will be discussing the future of BIM and what skill sets are required. He will also cover how to start a career in BIM and help define the various job titles and careers. Usman, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good morning, everyone. And from Nigeria, hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Usman Olayemi by name. Okay. I currently work as a consultant in Lagos, and I'm an advocate of BIM Africa, and I have a foundation which is called Positive Foundation. Okay. Okay. For this webinar, we'll be talking briefly of 4 points, which involve the future of BIMs and innovation, the new skill sets in the digital industry, and how do you start your career in BIM, and the defining job title in the career in BIM, because this webinar is majorly meant for students and young professionals in the AEC. Okay, now I would like to talk about what the future of work is all about. Now, the future of work relies on 3 major things which you have to understand before you work in the future of work, which involve the workplace, and the workforce. And the work defines what work are you currently thinking about, and the workforce, which professionals is going to partake in that particular future of work. And the workplace, it involves the organization strategy which they need to put in place for the future of work. So all these 3 things need to be rethink for you to understand, for you to work, for you to be part of the future of work in the AEC industry. Now, and for the future of work, you need to embrace change, because change is a constant thing which everybody needs to understand. So we need to embrace change, and for you to do that, you need to understand the diversity. You need to leverage on the new technologies, and you need to understand the stakeholders to leverage that change in the AEC industry. Okay. Now, this slide currently shows what the future of work is all about in the AEC. As you can see, you have the different automation, you have the fabrication of the off-site fabrications, you have the drone technology, you have the infrastructures. So the future of work is more of a collaborative effort where everything is put together. So I will talk about the digital evolution in the industry. Now, most of us are aware. Okay, for us students, some of us must have heard of this evolution, which involve the modular constructions, the drones technology, the virtual reality, the augmented reality, the cloud and mobile collaboration, the artificial intelligence, the 3D printing, and the BIM, that is the building information modeling. So I would like to talk about this briefly before we go into our next content. Okay. Now, this is the drone technology. Drones have been very beneficial to the AEC industry, which helps to take these quick survey reports, it helps to take quick valuation reports, and quick area photograph for us to understand, have a better picture of what we actually want to work into. Okay. The modular construction, the industry is fast changing, and we need to embrace the modular construction aspect. When you have an off-site fabrication, you have everything is being done in an off-site way. This is the future of work, because everybody is looking at getting a more efficient projects at a good time and a good little cost. So the modular construction issue is one of the future of work in the AEC industry. The next one is the virtual reality. This is currently helping the AEC professionals in the industry by having a clear visualization, because with the rate of the disruption in the industry, there is a need for a client, a professional, to understand your projects before execution and during execution. So the virtual reality as a technology disruptor is currently helping the AEC industry, which is very, very important. And the next one is the augmented reality. We have different tools that can help us in augmented reality. We have our mobile. This is what projecting your building for you to have a better understanding to what for your project. So there are different tools for you to work with this augmented reality. The next one is the cloud technology. This is fast rising in the industry, as you can what collaborate. It's not necessarily for you to be together for you to work. Now, currently with the global pandemic, it shows that the AEC industry needs to embrace and leverage on this technology, which involves the cloud computing and mobile technology. This can help us. And the next one is artificial intelligence. This is a machine learning where you can what mimic human to reduce repetitive tasks in the industry. The 3D printing. This is one of the leading disrupting technology in the industry right now. This is being leveraged when you want to complete a project within a little period of time. The first 3D printing in Dubai was done within few days, and this is still effective till now. I'll move on to what the building information modeling, which is one of our major concerns. I would like to talk about the brief definition of building information modeling. This is what this is the physical and the graphical representation of a model. Now, when you talk about building information modeling, the major thing is what the information, because from research, it has been discovered that information being lost in the industry is very, very and leads to different cases and different issues in the industry. So the major thing in BIM is what the information that is being involved. So that's why whenever you want to talk about building information modeling, information about your project is very, very paramount, which we shouldn't take away. Now I'll talk about the next content, which is about the new skill sets required in the AEC. Now there are different according to different professionals. We have softwares and programming language, which is very, very essential in the with the digital disruption. Whenever I'm talking about different skill sets, applies to different professionals, because as an architect, you have some new skill set that you need to discover. As a quantity surveyor, as an engineer, as a facility manager, there are different new skill sets which you need to understand. But what the major important thing is that once you are understanding this new skill set, you should be able to collaborate with others for your skills to be meaningful. For example, as an architect, there is a need for you to understand the Revit architecture. For engineers, there's a need for you to understand the Revit architecture and Revit structures and the Prota structures. And for quantity surveyors, there's a need for us to understand about the Navis work and the Bentley. There are different softwares out there. These are the new skills required for the new generation AEC professionals for us to function into. Okay, I'll move to talk about different careers in BIM. This is my major point of discussion today, because we're talking to the future of the AEC professionals as a student. Now, there are uprising professions in this BIM industry. The first and foremost is the BIM Manager, which is the top. We have the BIM Coordinator, we have the BIM Modeler, and we have the 5D Cost Manager. So I would like to talk about these few professions in the BIM industry. Okay, the BIM Manager. Who is a BIM Manager? The BIM Manager is is a professional that is responsible for implementation of BIM and the processes during the construction and the handing over stage. Now, they are responsible for what? For defining any strategies in a building. Now, the BIM manager is the head of all, just like the traditional project manager. So it's the duty of the BIM manager to define what strategy, what BIM execution plan, what LOD that should be used for a BIM model. Now, and it's the duty of a BIM manager to serve as a project manager to understand, to oversee everyone in the projects. And who can be a BIM manager? For you to become a BIM manager, you have to be certified by registered companies. And who can be a BIM manager? An engineer can be a BIM manager, an architect can be a BIM manager, a quantity surveyor can be a BIM manager. You can be a BIM manager as far as you understand the process. You can manage people and manage materials. And for you to do that, you have to be certified. You have to get some certificate from good, reputable institutes. And according to BIM Corner survey recently, the average annual salary for a BIM manager is about 80,000 Canadian dollars, which is equivalent to about 22 million naira in Nigeria currency. This is fair enough compared to others. Okay, I'll talk about the BIM coordinator. Now, who is a BIM coordinator? A BIM coordinator is responsible for coordinating the BIM project, settling the BIM protocols, testing various aspects of models, and communicating them with the people involved. As a BIM coordinator, it is important to have knowledge in several aspects, of software. Now, as a BIM coordinator, it is your responsibility to be able to aggregate all the BIM models, which are from the architect, structurals, MEP, that's mechanical and electrical. So it is your duty for you to understand as a BIM coordinator to aggregate all these models to run what we call class detections and have a coordination phase, so that we won't have any problem in the construction or execution processes. And who can be a BIM manager? For you to become a BIM manager, you have to understand the BIM processes which I stated above. And according to BIM Corner survey recently, the annual salary for a BIM coordinator is about 56,500 Canadian dollars, which is about 19,156,000 naira in Nigeria currency. Okay, the next professionals is the BIM modeler. Now, what is a BIM modeler? A BIM modeler is a person that is responsible for creating and developing a BIM model for constructions model, and is able to make a new and define elements and components. Now, a BIM modeler is majorly the designers. As an architect and engineers, you can be a BIM modeler because it is your duty for you to produce the designs which will be used for the project execution. And the average cost, the annual salary for a BIM modeler in the AEC industry, according to BIM Corner, is about 60,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 17 million naira in Nigerian currency. Okay. Now, the 5D cost manager, which I am part of. Okay, now who is the 5D cost manager? It's the person that provides the true value of a cost planning development at the conceptual stage of a construction project by providing the cost advice and estimate of various design proposals. And who can be a cost manager? An engineer can be a cost manager. A quantity surveyor can be a cost manager. Now, it is this of a 5D cost manager to be able to understand how to work in a 5D environment by being able to aggregate your 3D models, your 4D models, and your cost for you to have a 5D BIM environment. And according to BIM Corner survey, the average annual salary for a 5D cost manager is about 56,000 naira 56,000 Canadian dollars. And in Nigerian naira, it is about 16 million naira per year. Okay, I'll talk about how to start your career in BIM. Now, yeah, I started my career in BIM by having a clear mindset about the term collaboration, because you have to understand that BIM is what is not just a software, because that is the most misconceptions that people have in this part of the world. You have to understand BIM is not a software. Okay, you have to understand the basic concept of BIM. For you to start your career, you have to understand this, because this basic concept will guide you when you are making your decisions, probably as a BIM coordinator or a BIM manager or a 5D cross manager. So, and you have to understand the applicable tools according to your profession. Now, BIM is not a one man thing. You have to what? You have to understand your own professional aspect. Now, as an architect, there's a need for you to understand no more of your Revit, Dynamo, and as a quantity surveyor, there's a need for you to understand your Navisworks and the Synchro. And for engineers, there's a need for you to understand more of the Revit structures and dynamos and prota structures. And these are the tools. There are different tools applicable there. You have to just understand the tool which is applicable to your own organization or which is easier and flexible for you. Currently, I use Navisworks and Bluebeam and Revit as a quantity surveyor. Okay, you have to understand, you have to master your tools, because you can't just have the basic knowledge of softwares without mastering it and you want to work in a BIM environment. It'll be very, very difficult for a young professionals or a student to work in that environment. So you have to understand, you have to have a basic understanding of programming. With the disruption of the industry now, we understand that programming language is essential for everyone. So there's a need to understand Python, which is the most common and versatile programming language as is applicable in any industry, which construction industry is not excluded. Okay, now how to start a career in BIM? You have to take some certification courses, because for you to be able to practice in a BIM environment, you have to be certified by a registered company. And there are hundreds of companies out there. You just have to understand the content which you are subscribing for. So I have few here which I used and which is very, very beneficial to my growth. I have Autodesk. Autodesk is one of the leading BIM facilitators in the whole world, which is helping to leverage BIM technologies. And we have Prospect BIM firm. We have on this online school, which is Udemy. We have Blaze Incorporation. We have Ziggurat Institute. We have LinkedIn Learning. So there are different learning programs which you can subscribe to depending on what you want to learn, probably as a quantity surveyor or an architect or an engineer. And with the rate of BIM jobs that is being available in the industry now, there are two major websites, which is very, very important that for any BIM enthusiast to understand, which is the career structures and BIM community. Every day there are different BIM jobs posted on this website, which you can check and apply for it. And the salary rate is very, very enticing and okay. So these are the few websites that you can check through and get the prevailing BIM jobs in the industry. And this is not limited to Africa or Canada alone. We have different countries which are leveraging BIMs. Okay, now I always ask people that, are you stranded or branded? You can only be stranded in the construction industry when you have the wrong skill set, and you can be branded in the construction industry when you have the right skill set. And I was always saying, it is not too late to begin the journey, and because change is very, very difficult, because you may tend to lose something little now, but and later on there's a bigger thing for you to get at a longer time. So with these few content which I've provided for you this morning, I can fully understand that you have the basic knowledge about the digital disruption which involves the different disruption in the industry, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, building information modeling, etc. And you can easily understand the prevailing salary structures for the different professionals in the BIM industry. And with this few, I think I'm done with my webinar. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Okay, I'm done.
That's fantastic, Usman. That's great. Thank you very much. So it looks like there's a couple questions that came in from our audience.
Okay.
Are you able to provide any examples of how BIM was implemented in Africa?
Can I get that, please?
Sure. Can you give some examples of how BIM is being implemented in Africa?
Okay. Now, the current implementation of BIM in Africa is still very low because the industry is just been leveraging it. Currently, in my company, we've started in leveraging the use of BIM in my company. So it's just still growing in the Africa settings. But we have case studies in South Africa. We have case study in Enugu.
Okay, great. What are some of the projects you work on? What type of projects are you using BIM for?
A commercial project in Lagos. Yeah.
Okay. In Lagos, yeah. Okay. So kind of a related question to that. Is the level of in Nigeria, is the level of BIM adoption broken down by industry? For example, building owners, constructors, architects, trades. So do you see different levels of adoption from these different groups, or is everyone kind of moving together?
No, like I said earlier, the BIM industry is just growing, so there are different levels people still adopt. So with time, with the BIM Africa being involved now, everything is going to work in place. But currently, different people is still using different levels.
Okay. We have one more here. Did you face any challenges in implementing BIM in Nigeria, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I face challenges as a quantity surveyor because one thing about since BIM, as I said, BIM is just growing, and the challenge I faced was that lack of awareness is still low. So people don't understand BIM. Talk more of understanding the skill set that is required. That is why we started a firm called Prospect BIM Firm to create awareness to young professionals, because currently the top professionals in the industry are finding it very difficult to adapt to this change. So the major challenge is lack of awareness and lack of using the right tools.
Okay, great. Another question: which countries in Africa are BIM being adopted the most?
South Africa.
Okay. Okay, great. I have kind of maybe a more personal question for you. What made you interested in starting to use BIM for quantity surveying, and how did you start developing your skills?
Okay, what interests me majorly was from my undergraduate days, school days, university days. I have this desire not to work in a paperless industry. So when I see paper, I'm always having this different urge to not to use paper. So when I was doing my internship in some few years back, my mentor encouraged me about the use of softwares. So when he encouraged me about it, he told me about BIM, which I had to go back to my table to read more about it. So I started watching videos on it, attending seminars, to get understanding about what BIM entails. So after gathering all those knowledge for some years back, I had to let others know about what BIM is really entails, because average construction professionals in Nigeria and Africa at large believe BIM is still a software. So there's a need for me to educate them to understand more about the digital disruption, because it is here already. The future is now.
Well said. Thank you. So I need to jump to the next session. So just a reminder, everyone, you'll need to leave this session, go back to the waiting room to join the panel discussion. But I'll leave one more question for you that just came in, Usman. What are the top 3 reasons industry is adopting BIM in Africa?
What are the top what? 3?
What are the top 3 reasons BIM is being adopted in Africa?
Okay, according to my own research, why do we need to adopt BIM in Africa? Because currently, oh, okay, are you there? Currently, we have different building collapse in Africa. Some projects are abandoned, and this problem arises from poor foresight from the design stage. So the third one is project time lapse. Most of projects in Africa and Nigeria, they exceed their time because there is no proper planning from the inception stage of the project.